Friends, I'm certain you must have experienced something similar at least once in your life. Back in our school days, if we went without finishing our homework, the teacher would ask, "Why didn't you do your homework?" We'd make up some excuse or simply say, "Sir, I forgot." Then the teacher would respond, "Why didn't you forget to eat? Why didn't you forget to bring your lunchbox? How did you only forget the homework?" And we'd be left without an answer. Now, when I think about it, I realize that any task that fulfills our physical desires is something we never forget. In fact, our bodies alert us when we need to take action. However, we tend to procrastinate on tasks that go against our immediate desires, even if they're essential, and the solution to this very problem is what you'll find in this video. Just watch it till the end because it will compel you to be consistent in your work. Let me tell you, this happened with me too. I had work to do, I had a big goal in mind, yet I would spend the entire day idling, and at night I'd regretfully tell myself, tomorrow at 5 a.m. I'll change my whole life. We're all like this, aren't we? We push the day's work to the next day and tell ourselves that tomorrow will be a fresh start. But the reality is, our day one ends before it even begins. We wake up at 10 a.m. with a faint memory of the alarm ringing at 5 a.m., which we dismissed with the push of a button. The real game begins after we get up late and we come up with excuses like, if I had woken up at 5 a.m., I'd have completed everything by now. But since I didn't wake up at 5 a.m., it's already 10 a.m., and today is ruined. No worries, I'll definitely wake up tomorrow. Can you see how we end up deceiving ourselves? To avoid doing today's work, we tell ourselves we'll wake up early tomorrow. And when tomorrow arrives, we find yet another excuse to put it off, saying the time we set for that task has already passed, so the day is wasted. We never tell ourselves, I'll do it now and finish it today. Instead, we push the task to the future or blame the past to avoid doing it in the present. Now tell me, how is it that we vow to change ourselves, but when it's time to act, we end up getting lazy? Why does this happen? The answer is simple. It's because we have both an animal and a human inside us. As soon as the human within tells us what's going on isn't right, do something, change your life, we say, yes, absolutely, I'll change, but I'll start tomorrow at 5 a.m., not today. And the human within us agrees, thinking, all right, the day is over, so let's start tomorrow. But when the alarm rings at 5 a.m., sleep overpowers us and we turn it off. At that moment, both voices speak up. The animal says, go back to sleep, while the human says, get up or you'll waste another day. And what happens is we deceive ourselves into thinking we're not ignoring the human, saying, I'll just sleep 5 more minutes. But we end up not getting up. We outwit ourselves to avoid listening to the human, letting the animal take control. And all this trickery has a single root cause: intent. You don't genuinely intend to change yourself. It's not that we can't wake up early, it's that we don't want to. It's not that we can't work every day, it's that we don't want to. Now, you might say that early in the morning we're so drowsy that we don't even realize we need to wake up, and our hand automatically reaches the alarm to turn it off. But I would tell you, if your hand can reach the alarm to turn it off, you're aware enough to remember that you need to wake up and get to work. But if you still go back to sleep, understand that it's not a matter of compulsion, it's a matter of intent. We constantly tell ourselves, I need to change, to do something every day, to grow. Yet deep down, we know we're comfortable where we are, resting. Yes, we feel some dissatisfaction, but there's comfort in our current position too. If that comfort were removed and only dissatisfaction remained, you wouldn't need this video. You'd get up on your own. To stay consistent in your work, the first thing you need is a genuine intent to change from within. You need a bit of dissatisfaction with yourself, a rebellion against your weaknesses. But if you've decided to live with your weakness and dissatisfaction, then forget about changing or even working toward change. We just talked about intent, that you should have the will to change and work. But it's possible that even with intent, you might find yourself unable to start. It's hard to get into the flow initially, especially if you're still giving in to the animal within and sticking to your old routine. This time, though, there's a difference. Before, when you were losing, you weren't feeling much pain because you didn't truly want to win. But now, even in defeat, you feel disappointed because you wanted to win. People who don't strive to win don't feel much pain when they lose. They carry two beliefs. first they think that there are people who've worked hard and reached great heights. But at the same time they think, I've never seen myself as that kind of hard worker. I can't imagine that I have the potential to reach those heights. Such people live in self-doubt. And that's why, even if they occasionally feel motivated to change, they soon prove to themselves that they're not someone who can succeed. Our goal is to move beyond this category and join those who feel immense disappointment if they fail to work, knowing there's no fundamental difference between them and those who've reached their highest potential. The only thing missing is daily effort, which causes such deep disappointment. If you've managed to leave that first category but are still struggling with consistency, here's the solution. Listen carefully to what I'm about to say. Tasks that are new in your life will require a lot of effort, especially if your body doesn't support you. But when you do something regularly or have practiced it long enough, it will start happening on its own. The main factor here is practice. To change your subconscious mind's recording, you need to practice, even if it's painful at first. Eventually, everything will become easier. The benefit is, once you make hard work part of your routine, a sense of dignity develops within you. You won't want to go back to where you started. If one day you slack off, you'll come back with even more strength the next day. This attitude will help you maintain a winning streak where the human in you wins. But if the animal wins sometimes, as long as you're honest, you'll notice the percentage decrease. When you're consistently working every day, you'll stop keeping track of who's winning. But remember, the animal can return, so stay vigilant about your intent and actions. Listen very carefully. Your thoughts are simply a reflection of who you are, and who you are is revealed by what you're attached to. Let's understand this with an example. Imagine you're sitting in a room and all of a sudden, you start smelling something unpleasant. You start searching everywhere for the source, but no matter how hard you look, you can't find it. This happens because the source of the smell is you, yourself. If you're clean, the room will smell fresh, but if you're not, then the entire room will have a bad odor. This concept applies to our mind as well. If you're attached to negativity, your mind will be filled with negative thoughts. If you're attached to your body, you'll get thoughts related to your body. If you're attached to someone, your thoughts will revolve around that person. So if you want to prevent your mind from wandering while working, the solution lies in detachment. This begins with recognizing the worthlessness of whatever you're attached to. Understand that it doesn't hold the value you need. Once you realize that the thoughts circulating in your mind are meaningless and serve no real purpose, detaching from them becomes simpler. This clarity will enable you to move toward the right things, even if you don't feel like doing them, because you'll know that the task is necessary while the things pulling you away are trivial. With this realization, you will have risen above your mind, allowing yourself to pursue the right actions regardless of your mind's chatter. If you're working and your mind keeps babbling in the background, you won't pay it any attention because you've stripped those thoughts of their power by recognizing their futility. The mind often leads us astray because we think those things are beneficial or significant, but once you understand that they're not, you'll focus on the right tasks regardless of the background noise. Eventually, the mind will start producing thoughts that align with the work you're doing. And this happens because the mind can only create thoughts based on what you're attached to, and at that moment, you'll be attached to your work. The biggest mistake we make throughout our journey, and I mentioned this at the start of the video, is our all or nothing attitude. If we fail to wake up at 5 a.m., we assume the entire day is ruined. And even if we do wake up at 5 a.m., but make a mistake during the day, we get discouraged and conclude today was wasted too. We adopt this Mr. Perfect mindset. And if we can't achieve perfection, we stop doing even what we had already started. This is absolutely the wrong approach. The right attitude toward our day should be something like this. We have both a human and an animal within us, and at the end of each day, we need to look at who won. Was it the human or the animal? Like I said earlier, who wins is ultimately up to us. If our intent is to let the human win, then that's what will happen. We should put forth our best effort to ensure the human prevails. But if at some point the animal does win, we shouldn't get demotivated because we gave it our all. Even if the animal overpowers us, it's essential to remember that each time it knocks us down, we will rise again. With this mindset, you'll see that on average, the human wins 90% of the time and the animal only 10%. Of course, the aim is for the human to win all the time. If the animal starts winning and you're honest with yourself, its winning percentage will always be low. But if you start compromising, you'll notice the percentage gradually increase, because this time the animal isn't winning by itself, you're letting it win. When you consistently work every day, you'll stop tracking who's winning and who's losing. But remember, if you give yourself even a little slack, the animal might make a comeback. It's entirely possible to fall back into the routine you initially started with. That's why it's crucial to stay alert to your intentions and actions every moment. Don't place blind trust in yourself, thinking, I've risen above, I can't fall back down. Always remember that the animal within is powerful and will exploit any moments of negligence. But if you're committed to giving your best and have a pure intent, then the animal will have no choice but to lose. If you feel that this channel provides something different, something you can't find elsewhere, then subscribe now and share this video with a friend who could benefit from it the most. Thank you for watching, and remember, real change starts within.